Kia ora whānau, just reminding you how to set up your boards for design. So you go into Photoshop, create new. It's really important that you make it the correct size. So make sure it's 61 by 81 centimeters and that it's portrait. So width is 61, height is 81, and the background color, leave it at white. Create. Okay, so now we've got our board set up in Photoshop and we need to start dragging some things onto it. So I've got a folder ready with some things. Now the first thing that you need to put on is the brief up in the corner. So take a screenshot of your brief. Your brief is probably going to be sitting on a Google Doc somewhere. So make sure that that sits nice and snugly up the top there, at about that size, depending on how big it is. If you need to, so once you've got it on there and you've got no bleed or no margins, you can go Control T, Command T, and move it if you need to. The next thing that goes on is your inspiration board or your color palette. Sorry, inspiration board and your color palette. So drag and drop that on. Now this one is sized differently to, and is a screenshot. This is someone else's work. Now what I recommend is you don't take a screenshot and then dump it on like this, because you can't manipulate how it runs. So ideally what you want is for the bottom of your color palette and your inspiration board to be the same, to sit at the same level as your brief in a line here, and this is too big as it stands. So what I would have done is put these all on individually. What I could do is increase the brief size in order to make it match. Is something I'm a little bit disinclined to do, but we'll do that just for the purpose of this. Then color palette. Color palette, you can find the series of colors online, or you can use the paintbrush here and put the colors that you're using. So I pop that up there. Of course, you can pop you can put little labels on the top, text labels saying brief, inspiration, and then color palette if you want to. The next thing that needs to go on here in this part of your board is your font experiments. So this person's font experiments is here. Ideally what you're going to need to do here is try and eradicate some of the background, so spend some time on that, so it's just the font that we see, not the background on there. You can do that by increasing the, so if you can see here, you can increase the curves like that, and then you can increase the contrast as well, but unfortunately we can still see that background. So if it's at all possible, spend a bit of time erasing out the background there, depending on how you've done it. But don't stress too much if you can't. So the next one that goes on is your icons. So remember, your font and your icons were done separately. Here's a font, here's icons, and those are your logo, part of your logo concepts. Then we're going to put in your developments, so that's when you started to combine some of the typography here and some of the icons here and digitize them. So some of these have been done separately, a separate file, so that makes it easier to put on, which is quite good. So as you can see, it's much easier for me to pop them on in there like this. Another one here, you can just screenshot them, whatever's easiest. So I think that's all of them here. Ideally you'd have a few more of those there, and then your final logo needs to be nice and big, and I'd actually type onto that, I'd actually type on there final logo above that somewhere. but it needs to be quite a bit bigger than your experiments here, so I'm just going to move these around just to make a bit more space. And I'll probably move the position of this one in the layer to sit on top, so it appears there. Okay, so these are your concepts, which are the combination of here, and then there actually needs to be a few more of this, and that's your final, and you put a little text box saying final above there. Right, so that's that part, first part of the board done. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to pop in your excuse me, 6 to 8 6 to 8 poster concepts. Hopefully I have all of these right. Now what I need to see is that face is somewhere up here, and that foliage is somewhere up here. So it's really important that you have that continuity. These are actually a bit too similar. But as I said, I could be putting the wrong things in the wrong order here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, I'm further over than halfway. So I need to move these because I've got probably another 4 to get on there. Well, maybe not. Maybe this person's only done 6. It's tedious, but it yeah, okay, yep, I've done 6 and that's fine. Absolutely fine. Again, where is these backgrounds? Where is this image? It needs to be up here somewhere. Okay, so now make sure that you've got them evenly sized and evenly spaced. Fiddle around with that until you get it right. 2, 3, 4. Whoops. So I'm not going to spend time on that, but you will, of course. And then the next thing that you need to add, of course, is your 4 concepts. Now, nothing new should happen in these 4 posters that come down here. The 4 that come from this line should actually be a combination of the images and font that you've used up here. So this one obviously is, which is good, except it's really, really close, if not identical to that one. So maybe I've actually downloaded that twice. Looks like it, doesn't it? Alright, I'll just delete that, sorry. Oops. Right, now this is a problem. This image doesn't appear, neither does the colouring in anywhere up here. Same thing, doesn't appear in any of the concepts. And unfortunately again, so at this stage, the board wouldn't pass because there wouldn't be any continuity. We wouldn't see, even though the designs are great, there is no relationship between these and these except for the font. Right, now don't have a final picture that's been sent to me yet, but for argument's sake, let's say that this one is the final. Now this one needs to be really big here. And then you also need to find an image online of a billboard or a street poster on the side of a bus stop, and you need to put this into it so we can see what it would look like. So let me just show you how to do that. I'm just going to open up and alright, so let's use this one. Oh, actually, let's use this one. And save that. Right, you've probably lost all interest around about now, because I'm doing exactly what I hate other teachers to do when I'm in a course, and that's babble on with no clear objective. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to pop that final poster in. So I've just dragged it in there, and first you size it, and you can see, okay, so that doesn't fit in there, does it? So not a problem. Put your one finger on Control or Command if it's a Mac, and you can see that you can drag the corners fluidly to fit the space. Click OK. And I crop this image down because it needs to be portrait and orientation, like that. Now I'm going to merge the layers. Flatten the image. Just grab it from here and drop it. It's a really, really small file size. Okay. Okay, so I'd move these slightly now. So this is how to set out your board. And when you save it, you need to make sure you save it with your name there, but save it as a Photoshop file. Don't flatten it. Save it as a Photoshop file so that all the layers are saved and you can go back and change anything. When you send it to me for feedback, just do a screenshot of this. That's all I need, is a screenshot of this so I can see how you've laid it out. I'll pop that onto a document, and then I'll add some arrows and some comments, etc. But that's how it's done. Good luck, everyone.